Maybe, yeah.
First, citizen comments. Would anyone like to speak to the board on any item? Please come forward, introduce yourself, tell us what you think.
Bruce Nelson, Alachua County, Mr. Chair. I'd like to respond. Some months ago, or within the last year, I pointed out that I was very aware, and I went down the dais, and I discussed agendas or favorite things or things you ran on as commissioners. I have an agenda. That agenda has always been, and the one most familiar, as I pointed out then, would be Commissioner Pickison. I've been in his face for years about underemployment, unemployment, opportunities for upward mobility, and how that affects our crime rate, our family structure, drug use, children abuse. All of these things are affected by poverty. You alleviate poverty, even though that might be an agenda I have, I'm not a bleeding heart. You alleviate poverty by making sure that the upward classes can provide employment at a livable wage. And so that is my agenda. It does not mean that I want to redistribute income or I'm a communist or anything, because I don't like the results of poverty on my community. And I recognize the way you alleviate that is by trying to increase the cash flow and the discretionary income. If people don't have discretionary income, they can't spend money at businesses, and businesses can't hire more employees. So I don't expect government to solve that, but as I stated earlier, I expect them to, when possible, stay out of the way and not make it cumbersome for people to try to alleviate this problem at the lower levels. That being said, if you have an agenda, and I don't need to repeat what I believe they all are, please, by all means, try to honor that to some degree. But don't forget that none of you were elected with 100% of the vote. And the splits in all the past elections for a number of years kind of follow party lines, and with about an 8 to 10 point spread. That's not a mandate that completely destroys segments of the population or economy because you believe that you want to acquire as much land as you can in your lifetime. There are limits to everything, and as I stated, we probably need a few more statesmen that understand why, or I would hope you would examine why you entered into the race to become a county commissioner. Commissioner Chestnut has clearly stated that he told people certain things that he ran on, and many of them things he didn't agree with, and I felt he was unfairly chastised at some points for standing by what he believed he was placed in office to do. So again, when I talk about agenda politics, I talk about the extremes. People who will push through political influence and connections $500 million programs to try to take money that will serve 2 or 3% of a population, extracting the wealth of what little bit is left from an entire county out of selfishness and their own personal gain, or the gain of some clients. That's the agendas that I speak of. The other agenda will be not that you acquire some land. This idea of the voter, ultimately, I'll tell each and every one of you, the voters are responsible for the mess we're in. You just facilitated it, not you as it dies here now, but the people that have been in charge for a number of years. I think Commissioner Pickison knows in his heart he would like to see some things corrected before he no longer engages in politics, and I find that admirable. And I would like to see more of that would understand that we have, as a community, many people to serve. We in America, I'm concerned nationally and locally, we're not achieving what we could achieve. If we dropped the selfishness and just kept them agendas and utilized small portions of things and worked in that area, but every time that there is a possibility of relieving ad valorem tax and business tax, property taxes, with a consumption tax that makes a lot more sense, here comes the agendas. That's what I'm speaking of when I say agenda politics. Not that somebody likes green space or this and that. And so please understand that. I'm not a bleeding heart. I just worked these streets of this county for a number of years, and I've seen things that would make you sick. And they go on each and every day. That's why I feel that law enforcement is our first line social service, because they deal with this on the spot. Okay, and so don't get angry when I talk about agendas. I don't speak about your feelings. I'm speaking about the progressive, elitist, selfish agendas that crop up throughout this county and the things that have damaged and hurt so many people. Thank you.
On the floor. I want to respond before we do to some things that I just heard. I didn't understand all of them. Some of it was a little bit rambling. I don't know if it was all directed at me or not, but I will say that there's a reason there are 5 commissioners elected and not just one, because between the 5 of us, we collectively represent the views of the community. And who's extreme and who's not, well, that's up to the voters to decide. You can use that kind of rhetoric if you'd like, but I know that I've been very specific and very clear about what I attempted, will attempt to do if I'm elected. And I got elected, and so I'm going to work on doing those things. I don't apologize for that. I don't think anyone should. Again, anyone who forgets the things they said they were going to do when they were running for office, when they actually get into office, is not fit for that office. I'll say that again.